Scan any modern comment section, and you will find the word incel deployed as a weaponized insult. It has become a standard shorthand used to dismiss almost any man a woman happens to disagree with online. Stripped of its internet baggage, the word is a literal description: involuntarily celibate. It applies to any man who desires sex but currently lacks a willing partner. By that literal definition, every man who has ever lived has been an incel at some point in his life. A 100% success rate is a physical impossibility. Historical figures like Casanova faced constant rejection, and even the gods of Greek mythology were frequently turned down by mortals. Having one's sexual interest rebuffed is the single most universal experience binding men together across every culture on Earth. The ability to have sex whenever, wherever, and with whomever one wants is a privilege that virtually no man possesses. This raises a question about our modern social dynamics. If sexual rejection is a universal part of the male experience, we must look closer at why we mock the men who find themselves on the receiving end of a no. The moment a man's sexual interest is rebuffed, he faces a binary choice. He can accept the frustration of his own will, or he can attempt to impose that will on another. The philosopher Epictetus noted that the human body is always subject to a superior force. In terms of raw physical power, the average man is more powerful than the average woman. Biology does not grant women the natural power to unilaterally prevent sex. If nature made non-consensual acts physically impossible, the concept of consent wouldn't be a legal necessity. In a lawless state of nature, physical force dictates every outcome. Genghis Khan is a primary historical example. His success wasn't a matter of universal attraction, but a refusal to take no for an answer. Because physical reality allows for forced outcomes, a man's decision to accept a rejection is an active choice to restrain his own biological power. Humanity developed the social contract to escape that chaotic state of nature, establishing a structure of laws to replace the rule of raw force. This frontispiece for Thomas Hobbes's Leviathan shows a giant composed of citizens, representing the centralized state power maintaining civil society. The orderly town below exists because we trade our natural right to force in exchange for mutual protection. In this framework, women are the gatekeepers of sex by convention and law, protected by the overarching power of the state rather than by biological invulnerability. When a man chooses to be involuntarily celibate in the face of rejection, he is upholding that contract. He is choosing to frustrate his desires to respect the law and the right of consent. These two paths lead to entirely different worlds. Restraint leads to personal frustration, but preserves societal order. Force bypasses that frustration, but leads to societal collapse. Every time a man walks away from a rejection, he is executing the foundational agreement that keeps society safe for everyone. Modern internet culture takes these men, those who have chosen the path of civil restraint, and labels them creepy losers. Consider a businessman selling luxury goods who stands outside his store mocking a crowd of poor people for being unable to afford his inventory. This store owner is taunting a crowd that is actively choosing to follow the law instead of rioting or stealing what they want by force. This mirrors the historical parallel of Marie Antoinette's Let Them Eat Cake. It is a form of oblivious elitism that often precedes a breakdown of social order. We see the hypocrisy in daily headlines. Wealthy, famous, and attractive men frequently violate the social contract because they believe their status entitles them to bypass consent. Men don't require a parade or a celebration for simply following the law and respecting boundaries. However, systematically insulting people for obeying the law is a reliable recipe for creating villains. When a society punishes individuals for doing the right thing, it destroys the incentive to do the right thing at all. Weaponizing the term incel against men who take no for an answer undermines the very social contract that protects us. Preserving civil society requires us to stop disparaging those who choose not to violate others.